Hi, I'm Kelly Davis, the team lead of KCD Homes, and I'm here with one of our agents, Mandy Barnes.
Hi, thanks for having me, Kelly. I'm excited to be here with you today talking about the misconceptions that we've been hearing regarding the NAR settlement and what those changes actually mean, because we've been hearing some good ones out there.
So, for those of you who have not been following the news and are not familiar with what the settlement is, there was a class action lawsuit brought against the NAR alleging the current system violated antitrust laws that resulted in price fixing of commissions, among a bunch of other things. So this lawsuit settled in March of 2024 for a whopping $418 million and went into effect on August 14th of 2024, this year. So obviously, given the nature and the size, the media has been all over this. But as we all know, the media tends to be speculative and misleading. So since we've been following this since day one, it's pretty funny to see how the media has been spinning this and how people have been misinterpreting it.
Yes, let's get to the bottom of all this and set everything straight.
Yep. So I think one of the, I hate to say funniest, but the one that cracks me up the most is that all of these changes and everything that they're implementing is going to save buyers and sellers a ton of money. They came out and said that these changes were going to lower prices and that it was going to change sellers actually paying commission. The reality is that home prices are not set by a couple of these changes with NAR. They're set by recent comps, supply and demand, market value of the homes. And especially here in Northern Virginia, that's not going to change anytime soon. So buyers are not going to get the benefit of any sort of lowering of prices. And secondly, sellers are still going to pay commission. We'll go through this throughout the video and you'll see that some of the way they're going to pay is going to change, but it's not going to save them a ton of money because it's still going to be probably standard practice for them to do so. So I think the misconception is that anybody's going to save money, because really who made money through this whole thing are the attorneys that made $256 million off convincing us these things were needed. So yeah, what about you? What else have you heard?
Yes, so one of my favorites is that commissions are now negotiable. The reality is commissions were always negotiable. The difference is going to be how they are communicated and how the negotiations are taking place. So previously, we would have a listing agent and a seller uh, decide and negotiate together what the total compensation for both sides were going to be. And they would include a blanket offering in the MLS for the buyer's agent's commission. So now the seller can choose if they want to communicate that buyer's agent commission another way, or if they just want to wait and have the buyer negotiate their agent's commission as part of their sales contract, just like any other part of the contract, sales price, concessions, or any other contingency. So I know you have another one.
So actually, it's kind of related to that one. It's that sellers are no longer required to pay a buyer agent compensation, and that now buyers are going to have to come completely out of pocket to pay, for their agent. And the reality is that it was never required. It was just always sort of a standard business practice to help and incentivize a buyer by helping them pay their commission. So I think sellers always understood that it was in their best interest, because if they can offer to help the buyers pay this fee, buyers have so many fees, right? They've got appraisals, they have home inspections. So if they can offer this help, they're going to get more buyers to the properties. More buyers to the properties means higher prices, better terms, and it's just in their best interest to do so. The biggest difference, which you kind of touched on, is that it will be negotiated as part of the offer, and whereas it can't be disclosed or advertised upfront. So where in your decision, in your case, you were saying that they can still decide whether they want to come up with a commission upfront or negotiate it as part of the offer, regardless of what they want to do. That cannot be disclosed in the MLS. So the biggest change, the rule change, is now whatever a seller wants to offer can't be disclosed. So let's hear another one.
Yeah, so I think the last big one for me is I'm hearing people say that buyers don't need representation. And the reality is that buying a home is one of the biggest investments that you can make. As a buyer's agent, one of my biggest responsibilities is not just finding the home or negotiating the contract, but it's actually managing the transaction and risk mitigation throughout the entire process. So, one great change that has come from all of this is that going forward, buyer's representation agreements will be required for any agent showing any buyer any property. A buyer's representation agreement actually outlines the agent's responsibilities and duties that they have to the client, and it clearly outlines what compensation they'll be receiving and where that'll be coming from. Here in Northern Virginia, we've had these for years. I'm finding out that other parts of the country, that's not necessarily the case. And if that's, true, then yeah, I think that that is probably a really important thing to have. But we've been using them for years. It's very important. And I think it's transparency is key. At the end of the day, these changes were implemented nationwide to standardize the way that our industry operates. Here in Northern Virginia, we're already doing most of these things. While some of the regulatory changes we'll need to implement, I really don't think it's going to be as earth-shattering as media is making it out to be.
So we hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or you are thinking about buying and selling in the Northern Virginia area, we hope that you'll give us a call. Have a great day.